Hey guys, welcome to Startup Grounds. How are you guys? I'm excited to talk about goals. I've got lots of things to tell you guys. First of all, I'm just going to check my audio. Yeah, it looks like it's picking up the right mic. Okay, good. My mic just did something weird. So if the sound goes out, y'all in the chat, let me know. I'm hoping people will make their way over here because I went to go put your guys' password in. I had to make on the back end of that Startup Grounds website I built, there's like an admin panel where I can put in the password for each episode. And when I went to do that, I realized our website was down. So, like a whole friggin' saga. Hopefully, people will make their way over here. If not, we'll send out the replay and it's all good. I wanted to do a mid December check in with you guys and hear how everybody's doing. We did the first workshop at the beginning of December where we talked about what do you want your vibe to be for December? What do you want to create in December? What do you want your focus to be? But I think setting goals is actually the easy part, right? I do have some people that will come in when they hire me and start coming in the mastermind where they're like, I don't know what my goals should be. So that's definitely a thing that happens, right? But most of the time, people know what they should be doing, or they know something they could be doing. And so doing something is always better than nothing. I'm going to talk about that more, I think, later in the stream. But I just think the hard part isn't actually setting the goals, it's staying engaged with the goals and seeing it all the way through. And so that's why I wanted to start the show, Startup Ground, so we can go live. I'll probably do it a couple times a month and we can check in on our goals. So I would love to hear from you guys. How is it going? How have your goals been? What's up? Tell me all the things. I'm going to just try and reload this and make sure that we are actually live. Okay, good. It looks like it's working. So that's that. I also wanted to remind you guys we're recruiting for the Next Level Life bundle. So we just wrapped the Holiday Abundance bundle yesterday. I haven't looked at the stats yet, but when I looked at it at the beginning, it was off to like a really good start. And we got a lot of really great feedback from it. We would like to feature your business. So if you are a small business owner, you have an online business, and you would like to be featured in front of thousands of potential customers, definitely apply to be in the Next Level Life bundle. We would love to have you guys. So that's that. And then I also have Plan Like a Boss coming up. So if you are a business owner and you want me to help you plan your business, Plan Like a Boss is going to be January, I think it's 10th or 11th. It's on a Saturday. I will be sending out the information for that shortly. We haven't started signing up yet. You guys are not missing anything. If you're in the mastermind, don't worry. I'm going to give you all the stuff. All the things will be taken care of. So that's that. So I'd love for you guys to tell me, like, how is December going? I think this month can be a really scattered month. This is a month, I think, where we can really tend to get over focused on the doing of things, right? So it's like, I got to do this, I got to do that, and all of the to-do list stuff, and I got to go get this person a gift, and I got to wrap it, I got to go to this event, and like there's a lot of doing of things, there's a lot of task doing, right? Which is great. We love task doing. That's definitely necessary for goal setting. But what I'm more interested in is like the energy of which you're doing your tasks. And I'll be honest with you guys, I had a very hard week this week. So if you guys had a hard week, you're definitely not alone. I think it's normal. I really want to normalize that for people. It's normal for some weeks to go really great and to kill it and to make a lot of progress. And it's normal for some weeks to be more difficult and to have more things you got to deal with and more mindset things, right? And something interesting that happened to me, you guys let me know if you've ever had this happen to you, but we had I'll just tell you guys what happened. We had a bunch of tech issues on the website. We're still having tech issues on the website, but we had tech issues on the back end of the website. And it's interesting how our brain does this because my nervous system just got so activated from that. Even though everything is fine, bless Kelsey and Rebecca, they're helping me fix everything. We're going to get it taken care of. Like, I know it's all good. A lot of times when things don't go according to plan, or there's kind of like a wrench in the plan or something different happens, our brain can make that mean that we're not safe, right? And so it's interesting if you notice, like, what is that feeling that comes up in your body when you fall off of the plan, when the plan is not being followed, when you get out of your routine, when something shitty happens, like shitty things happen in life, right? When that happens, like, what is that feeling in your body? And for me, it's just kind of like this heaviness and tightness, like in my chest. And I really had to do a lot of work on what I wanted to focus on, what I wanted to make that mean. And I had to do some work like resetting my nervous system, which I really didn't want to do. Like, to be honest with you guys, I didn't want to do. I wanted to just push through and get my shit done. That's what I wanted to do. And I have been in such a good work routine. I've been like getting up, coming in the office, working like a lot, working on some really exciting projects. I've been really loving my work. It doesn't feel like a grind or anything. And so that was really great the first half of December, right? And then this last week, when all of this tech stuff happened, it it made my nervous system feel unsafe and my capacity for working was a lot lower. And so I had to take time to rest. And what I've kind of come to is like when I'm overwhelmed like that, especially because I have ADHD and PTSD and all these things, right? When I'm overwhelmed like that, slowing down is actually going to speed me up. So I don't know if that's a thought anybody could borrow, but that's something that has been very helpful to me is like slowing down is going to speed me up. And so a lot of times when we slow down or we're not on track or we're not where we thought we would be, our brain makes that mean, and I'm not going to get there and I can't get it done and I'm behind, right? Whose brain loves to tell them they're behind? It's like, I'm behind. I'm not gonna be able to do all the things. I'm not hitting my goal now and I'll never hit my goal, right? Our brain makes it mean all of these things. And so the thought that I've been reaching to is like slowing down speeds me up. And that allowed me to rest, right? I'm in a very privileged position to be self employed and able to take that time for myself. But it's still like mentally challenging. Like, even though I have the privilege there and I've worked hard to build this business and have, the ability to have flexibility in my life, one of the main reasons I even built the business to begin with was to be able to prioritize my mental health, be able to prioritize my physical health, be able to live a life where I feel a little better, right? Even though that's all that I've always wanted and now I have it, it's like can still be difficult to take that step back. And a lot of us probably have other opportunities in our life we could use for rest, right? Might not be able to stay home from work and rest, right? But maybe there's time in the evening you could use for rest. Maybe there's time in the morning you could use for rest. Maybe there's lunch break time. Maybe there's even time in the car. Like, what would it be like to make your commute like a time where your nervous system can reset and you can actually rest? Like, that's kind of an interesting idea. I coached someone on this in the mastermind Tuesday. It's funny how this theme keeps coming up because I taught in the beginning of December at the workshop. If you guys were at the goal setting workshop, um, we talked about like being intentional, like about your time off and how the activity is not what creates rest, right? So I can lay on the couch. We were talking about watching Christmas movies. I could lay on the couch and watch Christmas movies and think, oh my gosh, I'm so cozy. I love Christmas. This is amazing. I don't have anything I need to worry about. I could just lay here and like, what a gift. And I'm so lucky and everything's great. Everything's going my way. Or I can lay on the couch, watch Christmas movies and think, oh my God, I didn't get this done. I don't know if this is going to work. What if this never happens? What if I never get my goal? What if I never get where I want to go? And have two completely different experiences, one that can be really restful and restorative and one that can be really draining and exhausting and really eventually lead to burnout. But the activity you're doing is the same activity, right? Completely different outcome based on what's going on in your brain. And so looking at where do you have pockets of time to create restorative experiences for yourself, and what would you have to be focused on? What would you have to think for your commute to be restful, for your time like before you fall asleep to be restful, for your time when you're getting ready for work to be restorative? Like, what would have to be going on in your brain? And that's always kind of an interesting place, I think, to go. And it just gives you that higher level of intention that I think is really the key to goal setting. So when I was thinking about doing this show, I was like wanting to do something for the community that would be helpful, right? But also fun. And I ended up kind of coming to this idea of like doing this goal setting show where we set intentions in the beginning of the month and do these check-ins, because I think that's kind of the key to everything. Like, it's like if you can manage your mind to stay focused and to stay intentional about what you're trying to create all day, all week, all month, not 24 hours a day, but regularly checking in and bringing that intention forward, you can create some really, really amazing results. And what I see happen with online business is the same thing I see happen a lot with people in December, where it's like you get caught in the doing, right? Of like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. And we don't spend a lot of time thinking about what's going on in my brain. Am I creating a restorative experience? Am I creating a stressful experience? Why am I doing that? Would I like to do something else instead? All these different things, right? And I really think if we can learn to set the goals, right? In the mastermind, we do 90-day goals and then checking in each week and each month on like, how am I doing? Where am I at? What went good? What could have been better? If you can do that process, you can really create like so much in your life. There's really not anything like you can't do. And I think that's why I just love this process so much, is because I've been able to use it to create such big results in my life, just setting those goals, 90 days, especially monthly and 90 days, looking at what's working, what's not working, where do I want to be more intentional, what do I want to focus on. And I don't do it perfect all the time. Like I was telling you guys, like my brain had a whole like little freak out this week, and I think that that is okay and it's totally normal. What matters is like, can you recover, right? So once I noticed that I was overwhelmed and I noticed I didn't like the experience I had, I was able to intentionally create something different and start focusing on thoughts to slow myself down and create safety in the slowing down. A lot of times when we slow down, we think like, oh, I'm not going to get the goal. I'm not going to get where I want to go. I'm not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, what if it doesn't mean any of that? I see some of you guys watching now. You guys say hi. I want to see if the chat's working. I can't see any comments, but it might be everybody's being quiet. Could be. You guys are usually kind of chatty in the chat though. So I'm wondering if maybe it's just not showing me the chat. Comment assistant off. We'll see. Let me try reloading it. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. Like, how has it been going? Have you guys been having a hard time? Are you feeling good about it? Like, and the other thing is like, sometimes I'll get halfway through a month and I'll be like, I don't even remember what the goal was I started at the beginning of the month. So when you guys think back on that workshop we did at the beginning of December, what did you want to do with December? Some people were doing big goals where they were working a lot or they were finishing up projects before the new year. And some people were going to rest and some people were doing a mix of both. Like, are you doing what you set out to do? And where can you focus that would be a little more helpful, right? I don't love like the affirmations that are like the big, like, I live a happy and abundant, beautiful life. But it's like, maybe you don't really think that, or I'm going to be a millionaire, but you don't really think that. Like, I don't think those kind of affirmations are really useful. But what the work that I do with myself and that I do with clients is like, where is something, what is a useful thought that feels true that you can grab? Right. And so for me, it's like, it's safe to slow down, like, because I've needed to slow down and like take a little break this week. It's safe to slow down. I can slow down and grow. Right. I'm able to, I'm willing to learn. This is another trick I'll do. I'll be like, I'm willing to learn to believe that when I slow down, time slows down. I'm willing to learn to believe that when I slow down, it actually speeds me up. Right. And so I'll put that little tag on the front if I'm working on building belief. Okay, good. Janie's here. I feel like I'm wrapping up and resetting for the new year. It's been going well. I'm ready to plan 2026. Yeah, we're going to do Plan Like a Boss. I hope you guys can come. If not, the mastermind obviously will get the replay, but I'm going to do a full day of business planning, and obviously we'll do mindset and intention. I really think to create results in business or in anything, we have to have the strategy. We have to know what to do to create that outcome, right? Because if you don't know what to do, you're just going to be doing random stuff or doing nothing. And then once you know what to do, you have to know how to manage your mind to take the action, because action is created from your thinking and from your belief and from your self concept and from your mind. And so it has to be both things. What I think is interesting in like self help land is like it tends to be one or the other. And I really think it has to be both. It has to be the strategy of like, you have to know step by step, like what to do, like, what are you trying to do? What do you want to do? And then you have to know, like, where's a useful place for me to take my brain so that I can take that action over and over. And the reason I love coaching online business and I love coaching on goal setting is because it brings up everybody's stuff for them, right? So what will happen is we'll set a goal and we'll start taking the action, we'll start executing the strategy, and then we're doing the things. And a lot of times our external reality and the result that we want is delayed. A lot of goals that we set tend to be big things we want to manifest, like big income changes we want to make, big health changes we want to have in our life, big relationship changes we want to have in our life, right? So we set these goals for these big things and then we start doing the action, and then it takes time of doing the action before you see the result. And our brains hate that gap. They get so chattery. And this is why I'm like, you should set the goal even if you aren't going to be able to hit it. So I had someone ask me the other day, they were like, I don't like setting goals because I fail at them and I would rather just not set any. And I was telling her, I was like, you're missing out on so many opportunities for clarity, for growth, for all these different things. Like, you're missing all of those lessons you could be learning, right? And yes, it's uncomfortable. I'm sure anybody in here will tell you, like, doing new things and doing goal setting and trying to change things in your external reality and in your life, it's not fun all the time. Like, it's often very uncomfy, right? And our brains just hate that gap. And so a lot of times people will just won't even set goals at all. They'll just kind of like half-ass set them, but they won't really try because they don't want to risk being disappointed. And that's why I think it's so important that we learn how to process our emotions and partner with emotions. Because if you're not scared of disappointment, you're not scared of embarrassment, you're not scared of feeling sad if you don't hit it, if you're willing to feel those feelings and you understand how to process them, then like this stuff becomes a lot less loaded and you can really like get out there and put it all out there, which is what I've always wanted for everybody in my community. So yeah, let me see what you guys are saying. My plan has definitely changed for this month, but it's going good overall. Yeah, it's totally okay to change your plan, right? As long as you like your reasons. Here's what I'll say about changing your plan. If I love I heard, I think it was Vicky on the Time Hacker podcast. She said you're the least smart version of yourself when you make the plan. So the plan we all made in December, on December 1 or whenever it was we did the planning, didn't have as much information about what was going to be happening in our life, what was going to be happening with us physically, mentally, what we were going to be dealing with, what was the situation was really going to be, as we do now. So present self is smarter than the version of you that made the plan. And so if you can use that wisdom to create a better plan, I'm all for it, right? We do it in the mastermind all the time. People will set a 90-day goal and then they'll come on and they'll be like, my kid is sick, or this happened or that happened. And now the plan I make isn't really aligned with what I want to do. And I'll ask people, I'll be like, if you were going to make the plan now, if we're going to remake the plan, knowing what you know now, would you still pick that? And if the answer is no, it's like, that's a good indication to pivot. If you set a goal and you start working on it and then you feel uncomfy or you feel embarrassed or your brain gets real chattery or that, I don't love the reason for changing that. And Lindsay's been in my community a long time. I'm sure that's not what you're doing, but just for everybody in the chat, I think that's always a good thing to ask. That's one of my favorite questions to ask when I'm coaching is like, what are your reasons? Like, why are you doing that? And do you like those reasons, right? Because it's not my job to tell people what to do, certainly not, especially not entrepreneurs. My job is to help them figure out, what do they want? What do we need to do to get there? And then what do we need to think and focus on to be able to take the action long enough to get that outcome? Not easy, right? Intentional time off is one of my top priorities for 2026. I've been working basically every day for the past couple of years, and now I'm ready to learn to step back while things run. I love that for you. That's a great, great goal for you, right? And it's going to be interesting too, because like I was saying in the beginning, you think like, oh, like, um, it's going to be easy for me to rest, right? I've worked so hard and built all this up and now I'll be able to, but a lot of times like stuff comes up when we rest. So if there's part of you that doubts that your business can grow, if there's part of you that doubts whether or not you can do it, if there's like all of that stuff comes up when you take a step back a lot of times. So it'll be interesting to see like what happens in your brain, right? And just put your little scientist hat on and be like, when I stop working, what happens in my brain from a non-judgmental place? That's the key to all this work, is like you can't be bullying and being an asshole to yourself. So from a non-judgmental place, it's like, what happens in my brain when I work less? Like, that's really interesting. Like, do I want to tell a different story here? Do I want to focus on something else? Right? Something I think about a lot that I've been thinking on lately again is just this idea that just because something's true doesn't mean it's useful, right? So I used to use this example all the time of like when I would drive in my car, I would think about being in an accident all the time. And it's like, could I be in an accident and die when I'm driving? Like, yeah, that's a thing that could happen, right? It happens all the time. But is it useful for me to think that every time I get in my car? Do I really want to have the experience that thought creates for me? Like focusing on that thought of like being in a car accident makes me feel super anxious, right? Probably even increases the likelihood I'll be in an accident because I'm so freaked out and anxious and, all reactive in my body. And do I want to have that experience every time I get in my car? And it's interesting while you guys are working on your goals, whether it's to get more done or get less done or relax or whatever you're working on right now, like what are you focusing on, and do you like the experience that's creating, right? So a lot of times when entrepreneurs come to me, they've been playing in their head over and over like, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? What if I can't do it? What if it doesn't happen? I don't know if I can do it. Like all these different things that create fear, that create doubt, that create anxiety. And the people that come to me usually are pretty committed. Like they're not going to not do it. Like they're going to do it. So it's like if we've already decided to do it, right? You already know you're going to try for a year or 2 years or however long you want to try to have a business. If you already know you're going to do it, like do you like the experience that that focus is creating for you? Like could you fail? Yeah. Could the business not work? Of course, right? It happens all the time. Is it useful for you to focus on that if you want to build a business, right? It creates a lot of heaviness, of doubt, of fear, and thinking about whatever goal you guys set, what experience do you want to have while you're trying to do it? And what would you need to focus on to create that experience? And I just love the idea of like how much of the way we experience life is created in our brain, in our mind with our thinking. Like I love that. I think it really has given me my power back, where I feel like I'm not just being dragged around by life all the time. Do shitty things still happen in my life? Yeah. Like, do I think life is fair? No. Like, I still have my same worldview I've always had, but the more intentional I am with what I want to experience and how I want to experience it, and noticing what's going on in my brain now and where could I go instead that would send me on the right track to have the experience I want, like the better everything gets in my life. It's hard because the to-do list is never ending. I'm going to need to remind myself that it will all still be there when I come back. That's a good thought, right? It will all still be there when I come back. And, you just have to it might be useful to just set some time boundaries where it's like, I'm going to do as much as I can in these hours. That's kind of what I have to do. I'm like, I'm going to work these hours and that's it. Like I rarely work more than my planned amount of hours just because of what you're saying. It's like I could work all day every day. Like I'm never a point where I feel even close, even remotely close to having everything done. And I think that's the state for a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of business owners. It's like there's always more you could do. There's always more things you could do. And so what do you need to focus on? What needs to be going on in your brain to let that be, right? And I like that thought you said it'll all still be here, right? I really love like the important things will get done. I always make sure the important things will get done. The things that need to get done will get done. And it's okay for things to take time, right? It's okay for things to take time. It's okay for things to be left. Like, you don't have to finish everything the second you start it. I entered December with 3 projects to finish, nearly done with 2. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yesterday I hit a wall. I need to stop and just spend more time without any of the work responsibilities, even those I love. That's really good awareness. That's kind of what happened to me earlier in the week, right? It was like I just needed to stop. I needed to rest and create safety for myself and let my nervous system calm down, and just step away, right? And that is hard for me. I don't love that. That is not the most comfortable thing for me to do. Would have been to lock down in this office for 12 hours and just work and work and work. But I would have been working from a place of anxiety. I would have been working from a place of fear. I would have been working from a place of overwhelm. And I just decided, like, I'm not going to do that. Like, there's no reason for me to do that. It's not useful to me. It's not useful to you guys. It's not useful to my clients. It's just not useful. Right. And so I took a couple days of just like, I did my calls and stuff, but I wasn't in the office other than that. And I very rarely do that. But this move has been really difficult, moving off of Kajabi onto Go High Level. We've had a lot of tech problems and a lot of issues behind the scenes. And I just, for whatever reason, this last one, I got really activated. Like, my it's interesting because when things don't go according to plan, our brains don't like uncertainty. They like certainty. They like to know what's happening. And so when things don't go according to plan, our brains can be like, I don't have certainty because I didn't think this was going to happen. And now it's happening. So now I have uncertainty and I don't know if I'm safe. Right. And my whole body and nervous system was really activated. I just had to take a couple of days of like, we're good here. Like, it's safe for me to stop working. It's safe. This is all going to work out. And I do think it's going to work out. I know we're going to be glad we did it. So I do know it's going to work out for me in my favor. It's going to be better for us in the long run. I do know that. Right. But it doesn't make it suck any less in the moment. Right. Yeah. I'll be letting go and just being for now. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that, Wendy. Yeah. Right. So yesterday I hit a wall, just spend more time without any work responsibilities. Yeah. So what would you have, like, what is the experience you want to have when you're not working? And what would your brain have to be focused on? What I see with a lot of online business owners, what I see a lot with myself is our brains are always like, I should be doing more. I should be doing more. This needs to be done. And this needs to be. And it's like, how can we create an experience in your brain that's restorative and restful? Right? What would you have to focus on? And the thing that helps me is like this idea of just grounding in the present moment. I have PTSD. I've done a lot of therapy work around all that, but something they teach you a lot is like just grounding yourself in the present moment. So you'll like rub your fingers together and just notice that like feeling and just be like in your body in that moment. But what I think is interesting, even if you don't have PTSD, is like being in the moment of whatever you're doing, right? So if you're cooking something or if you're going for a walk or whatever you're doing that's not working, like, can you really just fully be in that moment? When our brains love to go to the future and think about future stuff and try to do psychic stuff, and it's like, what's going to happen here? And is this going to happen? And is that going to happen? And our brains spend a lot of time chattering on about the past. Like, remember when this happened? Remember that happened? Even like happy memories. I just think that dilutes the rest that's available to us in the current moment, right? When your brain is like off in the future and off in the past, even if you're not working, I think that can still be a big energy leak, right? I think that if you can just ground yourself in the present moment and quiet down that chatter, even just a little bit, it doesn't have to be all the time. Cause I don't know about you guys, my brain be chattery, right? It's chattering. So even if you can just do it a little bit, I do think that that's a good way to create rest and restoration. I don't remember what I was even going to talk about when I came on here. Let me look at my notes. I don't have the password for you guys, so our website is down. I don't know if I'm sure if you guys are here, you saw my email. Our freaking website is down. So when I went on to create the password for the show for you guys to get your punch, I can't do it because there's no website there for me to go on. So what I'll do is I'll put it in the description of this video for anybody watching the replay. I did make it here. It's just not live yet. Where's my thing? I'm still learning how to Here we go. So the secret word is going to be I got this, all one word. And you guys can put that in the app when after I add it in there and the site is live. So maybe do it tomorrow. Supposedly the site is supposed to be up like shortly. Like it's not, and it's not anything like we did. It's just the hosting is down. Sometimes that happens. They had some kind of issue. So they're working on getting it back up. But you guys can go in. I'll send some reminder emails too, because if you get two punches, so you put the password in for last show and you put the I got this password in for this show, it will unlock the Action AI, which is a custom GPT I made that's basically like a productivity coach. It's trained on a lot of the kind of behavioral therapy stuff that I use and a lot of the frameworks that I use when I'm coaching and stuff like that. So if you need like a little pep talk or you want that, that'll be fun and you can get it for free. It's usually we sell it over at Empowered Slacker. So my other brand, I have two brands. Like one is for online business owners, it's faithmariah.com, and then one is the Empowered Slacker Society, which is just about personal development and personal growth in general. And usually we sell Action AI over on that Empowered Slacker, but I made it so you guys can get it free if you watch both episodes of the show this month. So watch your email. I'll send reminders for you guys to get your punch since you can't do it now. I'm assuming the website's still down. It was down right before I came. So life be life in, you guys. Life be life in. I hope you guys are all having a good holiday and everything is going smoothly. And I know the holidays can be really difficult for some people, but hopefully you can find some kind of balance, right? I think it's okay to be sad. I think it's okay to miss people. I think it's okay to feel lonely. I think all of that is okay. And all of that is just normal human feelings. And just know like it's safe for you to feel whatever is coming up for you, and to move through it. Obviously, if it's like really overwhelming and difficult, like talk to a therapist or someone to help you process it. But if it's just normal human feelings of, feeling lonely, feeling sad, feeling overwhelmed, feeling whatever it is, it's just feelings in your body. It will pass. That's a really comforting one to me. I have big emotions. I don't know if any of you guys have that, but I just have like big feelings. Like I have really big, intense feelings. And I've always been like that. When I got diagnosed with ADHD, I learned that that is a thing that happens to people with ADHD. And so, it all started to kind of make sense. But something that's helpful to me when I'm having those big feelings is just like this, it's okay for me to feel this. It's safe for me to feel this. It's normal that I'm feeling this. And it's temporary. Because I don't know about you guys. I think it's funny how dramatic our brains are, because whatever feeling I feel in my body, my brain is convinced that it's going to be forever. It's like I'm depressed and I'm always going to be depressed. It's like I'm unhappy and I'm never going to be happy again. And so it's just helpful for me to question that stuff, right? A lot when we're talking about creating our mental experience, like a lot of it is just questioning the chatter, right? So the brain will be like, I'm not happy. I'm never going to be happy again. I'm lonely now and I'm always going to be lonely. I'm never going to meet someone, or I'm never going to have a good experience, or whatever it is. It's like, can you stop and question that and be like, is that actually a fact, or is that just a story I'm telling myself, right? And why is my brain wanting to do that? And so you don't always have to like shift it to feeling better. Like sometimes you got to sit and process your feelings, right? And it's okay to give yourself thoughts, to let yourself feel bad sometimes, and be like, yeah, I'm lonely right now. Like I'm lonely right now, or I'm sad right now, or I'm frustrated at my kids right now, or whatever it is. It's like, the mindset work, I love it so much. And I do think so much of it creates our results and our reality and all these different things. And I also think like you got to be honest with yourself too about what's happening, right? So people will start learning like this stuff about cognitive behavioral therapy, or come into the mastermind and start coaching with us. And then they're like, I'm going to coach myself out, since all feelings are created from thoughts. I'm going to coach myself out of ever feeling bad. And that's not really going to work, right? It's not really helpful. And so a lot of times to actually move through the feeling and get on the other side where we want to be, it requires like sitting in it for a little bit and processing it, right? And that's what helps it pass, right? Because think about when I used to have anxiety, right? I had really horrible anxiety, like to the point where I almost couldn't leave my house. Like almost had to drop out of college because I like couldn't leave my house and like my anxiety was like totally out of control. But what would happen is I would feel anxiety in my body, I would feel anxious, and then my brain would be like, "Oh my god, I might have a panic attack. What if I have a panic attack? I don't want to have a panic attack. I don't want to be anxious. Oh my god, we can't be anxious. We need to calm down. Oh my god, oh my god." Right? You guys ever done that? And so it's interesting because when we try to talk ourselves out of feeling a certain way, a lot of times we end up amplifying it and making it take longer. When I was just like, now when I'm anxious, I just tell myself, yeah, I'm super good at being anxious. I've done it lots of times. No matter what happens, I will be okay. And it's okay for me to feel this way, right? And that's what allows me to move through it. And so if you guys have like difficult feelings come up around the holidays, it's okay. It's very human. It happens for a lot of people. It's very normal. I think there's a lot of duality in human experience. It's like, love and light can't exist without darkness. Like we have this duality in a lot of our human experiences, and the holidays aren't any different, right? It's like there's great things about it and things that are lovely and awesome, and there can be things that are hard and sad, and it doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It just means you're having a human experience with a lot of duality, which I think is really normal, right? I also think like I think about periods of my life that were really transformational, like really changed either my external reality or the way I saw myself, or those are periods of time that were most transformational, usually had a lot of duality in them, where it was like there was a lot of good things happening and a lot of things that were really difficult at the same time. And so I just want to say that for anybody having a hard time with the holidays, like my heart is with you, and the community all understands it's very human and very normal, and please be compassionate with yourself, be nice to yourself. It's okay to have those feelings, okay to feel like I just think like loneliness, feel like could be normalized a lot in our culture. Like there's this idea that like you shouldn't feel lonely, right? It's like we're supposed to be surrounded by people all the time, and like but sometimes even if you have family or even if you're married or even if you're like that, loneliness is something like we're always going to experience as humans. It's very human. And so if you're lonely over the holidays, just remember that like humans feel lonely sometimes. Even if you had a ton of family around and people around, it doesn't mean you're never going to feel lonely. You're still going to feel lonely sometimes, and that's normal and it's okay. It doesn't make it suck any less. Like I understand, like I said, I have like very dramatic emotions and a dramatic ass human brain, so I understand like it can suck and be really difficult too. Like I'm not trying to minimize that. But for me, like I'm saying, the normalizing of the emotions is what allows me to process through cleanly without getting really bogged down in them, without getting really overwhelmed. It's like the same thing I was saying about anxiety can happen with loneliness, where it's like, I'm alone and I don't want to be alone and I shouldn't be alone and I wish somebody was here and I'm probably always going to be alone and this, whatever story we're telling, right? But when you're just like, you know what, I feel lonely right now. I'm having a really human experience. Humans feel lonely. I'm a human. I'm going to feel lonely sometimes. And yeah, it will still feel like loneliness in your body, but it's like those extra stories are optional, right? Where it's like, I'm lonely and I'm never going to find someone. I'm going to die alone. I'm going to be by myself forever. It's always going to be like this, right? It's like that's all extra suffering that is piled on there. So it's like if we can just be lonely and be like, yeah, like I'm lonely, and like tell the truth about that and then support yourself through that. Those feelings, for me at least, they tend to move through a lot quicker and a lot easier. And they're not, the implications of them are a lot less. What's interesting when you start like processing these feelings in a clean way like that, where you're just like, yeah, I can be lonely. Like, let me like really sit in this and like think about this and think about what this feeling is and notice these sensations and notice what's going on in my brain. And let me like really have the full experience of being super lonely. Right. Sometimes I'm like, I'll really like throw a pity party too. I'll like really, sometimes I'll just like really fucking feel sorry for myself and really feel disappointed. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just like really going to go for it. I don't try to coach myself. I don't try to do any of that. I just practice feeling that feeling and being supportive of myself while I'm having it. And that allows me to process it in a clean way. What's painful are all the stories on top of it of what we make it mean, right? But when you're just like, I'm just having a human experience, humans are lonely sometimes. All humans are lonely sometimes. I'm lonely right now. Like, what do I need? How can I take care of myself? Like, be honest about the experience that you're having. It becomes so much easier to process those feelings, right? Because what makes the feelings so painful and difficult to process a lot of times isn't the actual sensation in your body. It's not the actual feeling and experience of loneliness or sadness. A lot of times it's like all of the extra things on top of it. Those painful stories, we make that mean, right? So I feel lonely in my body, and then my brain they'll tell myself like I'm always going to be alone. I'm never going to meet somebody. Like it's always going to be like this, right? And all of that extra stuff on top of it. And so for me, it's taken a long time. I'm still like learning, especially because like I said, my emotions are very big. I still have like clinical depression and PTSD and all this stuff, right? And so I'm still learning like how to process all this stuff. But the thing that's the most helpful for me is just to remember like humans are not supposed to feel good all the time. Like sometimes we're supposed to feel lonely. Sometimes we're supposed to be sad, right? I love that idea of like radical acceptance where it's like how do we know like we're supposed to feel lonely sometimes because you feel lonely, right? It's like everything is how it's supposed to be. And that's the other thing that helps me a lot with the emotions, I think, is that not arguing with reality piece, right? Where it's like you try to make yourself not lonely or you try to make yourself feel better, but the reality is like you don't feel better. The reality is like you feel lonely, and it's like what if I'm supposed to feel lonely right now? Like it's not supposed to be different. Like my brain's going to tell me uh, I should be with my family, or this should be happening, or this should be different, and it's like nothing is supposed to be different. Everything is supposed to be as it is. And the reason I love that thought and that story so much is it really minimizes a lot of suffering, right? I think Byron Katie talks a lot about this. I used to follow her work a lot, and she would talk about like how humans create their own suffering, and a lot of it is from arguing with reality, thinking things are supposed to be different. But if you start telling yourself everything is how it's supposed to be, I'm supposed to be sad right now, I'm supposed to be hard right now, I'm supposed to be happy right now. Like how do I know? Because it is that way, right? And it's like nothing's supposed to be different. It doesn't mean things are fair. It doesn't mean that you can't decide you want to change things in the future. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means like taking that some of that extra chatter and extra layers of suffering away, right? And that helps me, I think, process those emotions a little cleaner. My brain will be like, this shouldn't be happening. That should. It's like everything is supposed to be happening how it is. How do I know? Because it is that way. If it was supposed to be different, it would be different, right? And that allows those emotions for me to like be clean. If you guys have any good thoughts you've been using, I'd love to hear them in the chat, or anything that helps you like move through emotions cleanly. Or if you have any good thoughts people could borrow that are having a difficult holiday season, you can drop them in the comments or in the chat. I think that would be a really nice thing to share. If you have an online business, make sure to do the application for Next Level Life Bundle. That's at faithmariaevents.com. I'll send you guys an email reminder. I'll send out the replay, and I'll send out a reminder to do your coffee punch card so you guys can get the Action AI. And you guys have businesses, come to Plan Like a Boss. I'd love to see you. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. I don't think I have any more of these on the calendar for December because next week is holiday, and I'm not coaching a ton next week. But I will do some more in January. I'll probably do maybe we'll do well, let me look at the calendar. I'll send it out. Let me look at what I'm going to do. I haven't even looked at my calendar for January. Have you guys looked at January? I'm like January to me is like I'm like that's next year. All the way a week and a half from now. So I'll look at my calendar and I'll put some dates, and then we'll do my goal is like for every month to just do some kind of intention setting exercise at the beginning of the month over here on Startup Grounds on the old YouTube channel, and then do a couple of check-ins in between. I did put like a form at startupgrounds.faithmaria.com, which hopefully will be live any minute now. Hopefully it is live when I get off of here, but when I came on, it was still down. But if you go over there, there's a form if you want a pep talk about something, or you want to tell me a situation and you want a pep talk or ideas of thoughts to think or whatever. I'm happy to talk about specific situations on the show too. I don't want to coach business. That's my only boundary. Like I really have is like for this show, I just don't want to coach business. I just want to talk about goal setting, mindset stuff, but anything related to that, that is like in your way from taking the action, anything that's in your way from reaching your goal, I'm happy to talk about. Just let me know what that is in the form. And obviously, if a bunch of you submit, I can't do all of them in one episode, but I can usually, I'm pretty savvy at getting everybody what they need. So if you put it in the form, I usually can kind of work 3 or 4 themes into one little talk. And we'll just get everybody what we need like that. Right. So yeah, that's that. I'm gonna go and see if I can get our website back up live. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and thanks everybody that made their way over to the YouTube. Hopefully next week we'll be back on the app, startupgrounds.faithmariah.com. But I am streaming it. I'm planning on streaming it onto the YouTube channel every time we do it. So if there's ever something wrong with the app or you can't get it to work or something, you can always come down to YouTube. If you go to YouTube, to my YouTube channel, search Faith Mariah, and then you click on the tab that says live, it will show you all my past live streams, and there'll be like a little video of me talking live. But if you go to the main channel, you won't see it because for whatever reason, the live videos are not on the main tab, which I find annoying personally. But anyway, that's that. I hope you guys have a great rest of your time. If I don't see you, I hope you have a great holiday season, wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, whatever you're celebrating or not celebrating. I hope it serves you really well and you have a great time and a good experience. And I hope it's just whatever you need. Sometimes, sometimes we need like happiness and joy and stuff, but sometimes we need to heal and sometimes we need to feel sad and sometimes we need to feel lonely. And like, I hope that you have the experience that serves you the most. And I hope that you have all the support and tools that you need to deal with whatever that is. And I'm coaching on Monday. So if you're in the mastermind and you want to coaching, obviously, if you want to take the week off for holiday, you can do that. But I always work. I don't know. I always work the week of Christmas. Matt and I always just stay here. So I will be on Zoom on Monday. And then I'm doing a makeup call for if you've hosted co-working in the mastermind, there's a bonus call for you that I'm doing on Tuesday. And then I'll be off the rest of the week. So I'll see some of you guys next week. Some of you guys I'll see probably, I guess, the week after that. And yeah, we'll do Plan Like a Boss on the 10th. So I'm still working on the opt-in stuff. I've just had so much other stuff to deal with because of the tech stuff, but I'll have the opt-in page and like all the information for Plan Like a Boss out soon. I've been trying to get it out every day. I've been saying, I'm like, it'll be out later today. So I'm not going to say that this time. It'll be out when it's out. Okay. Everything is how it's supposed to be out. I'm like, if Plan Like a Boss is supposed to be out, it would be out. So you guys do that and I'll get the mastermind. I'll give you guys all the details and we'll put it on the calendar and stuff for you guys so you don't have to worry about it. Oh, there's Charlie. It's a guest appearance by Charlie. Let me see if I can show you guys him. Oh, no, he's under my desk. He lives under my desk. Probably like 90% of our calls when I'm on Zoom with you guys, he's like curled up underneath my desk. That's like his spot. He's looking old these days. He's really slowed down since he had that. I don't know if you guys remember. He had a stroke. When was that? It wasn't that long ago, but he's recovered from it fully. Like he can walk around and stuff on his own, but he's real wobbly and he's not as functional as he used to be. My poor little love. And so he's pretty much spends all his time asleep underneath my desk. You okay, bud? I know. You're a good boy. All right. I'm going to go. I will talk to you guys soon. I hope you have a great holiday season, a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys. Thanks for being here.